Hey, welcome to Musings of Them, the podcast. This is your host, KomKom, your favorite baby coming straight to you from my home. Musings of Them is the first ever fully channeled podcast where I deliver unscripted messages of divine wisdom, guidance, healing knowledge straight to you from the source, the universe, God, creator, whatever you want to call it, and my spiritual team. Weaving in my education, life experiences, healing journey as well, I'm here to motivate and empower you as an intuitive channel and medium, spiritual advisor, and coach. So ultimately, I hope that this podcast assists you on your healing and spiritual journey so that you can embody your authentic truth and be your best self, because you deserve it. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel to be notified of new podcasts as well as other projects I'll have on this site. And before we begin, I want to get settled into our bodies and be present with the moment with a mindfulness meditation exercise. I want you, wherever you are, to get comfortable. Maybe you're standing or sitting or laying down, whatever that is, whatever that looks like. I want you to just get comfortable with your body. Soak your fingers, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Soak your shoulders, going backwards. Roll your neck, starting in one direction. Allow yourself to just move and feel how it feels to do these little movements in your body from head to toe. You may notice an area of tension or an area that has strain or pain. Just notice these areas and see if you can allow movement, if it's possible, to enter these areas. I want you to take the time to just move slowly, intentionally. You may begin now to reverse the circle if you're still rolling your head or your shoulders. Reverse the direction of that. If you're wiggling your toes, see if you can move in a different way. If you're wiggling or moving your arms, see if you can be like water, allowing yourself to flow where you can. Now as we come to a still, letting out the last of those movements, we take 3 of the deepest breaths we've taken all day. Grounding ourselves into this present moment, grounding ourselves on this earth, we imagine that we are taking in deep, deep breaths, as if we are trees and our roots at the end of our feet are going into the earth, down to the core of the earth. We breathe in from those roots, allowing that breath to travel upwards from our feet all the way to the top of our heads, holding our breath at the top of our heads for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we release that breath from the top of our heads to our feet, releasing anything that does not belong to you in this moment. Releasing the tension, stress, fear, insecurities, doubts, we release back into the earth. Grateful that the earth can take this from us energetically. We breathe in again, deep breaths down from the core of the earth, breathing in the earth's abundance, earth's safety and security. We breathe that into our bodies, up to the top of our heads, and we hold our breath now for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Releasing that breath from the top of our heads down to our feet, releasing
letting go of what you need to in this moment, allowing your shoulders to fall down at that out breath, your stomach to go back towards our spine, releasing and feeling that release back into the earth. On our last biggest breath, we take it in deep, allowing our stomach to expand from that core of the earth. We breathe in life's affirming energy, holding that to the top of our heads. We now hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Releasing that energy now again. What do you need to release in this moment? Allow that out breath to help you expel and release anything that needs to go right now. Knowing that it is being held by the earth, and the earth continues to hold us each and every day. And as we watch our breath return back to its natural rhythm, see if you can notice. I invite you to bring that attention to where you feel your breath the most. So some of you, it might be right at the tip of your nose, at the nostrils, feeling the heat as you breathe out and the coolness as you breathe in. It might be in your chest. It might be in your abdomen as your stomach expands and your chest deflates. Where do you feel your breath the most? Bringing attention and awareness to that location. Just follow it. What is the cadence, the rhythm of your breath? How fast, how deep are you breathing? Notice in this moment, in this time, the quality of your breath. This is not to judge or to critique how we are breathing, to just bring awareness to that we are breathing. Your mind might wander. Thoughts, feelings, sensations might pop up during this time. And that's okay. Just gently bring your breath back. Bring your mind back to return again to this breath that you hold in your body. Taking a few seconds now to just watch our breath. Gently and slowly at your own pace, bringing your awareness back to whatever room or location you are in, to the noises around you. What do you hear? What sounds? How far? How many? From which direction are you hearing them? What do you feel? Is there a breeze? Is the temperature hot, cold, warm? Do you feel your clothing on your skin? What do you feel? Now to our sight. What do you see around you? What are your eyes drawn to in this moment? What's the texture, color, size of that thing that your eye is drawn to? Now, fully coming into our senses and awareness of where we are in our body placement. Are you sitting? Are you laying down? Are you standing? Bringing our awareness back into our senses and our body. We have arrived. Yay! Thank you for going through that short mindfulness exercise with me. Hopefully you feel more grounded in the present. And I think that just brings us to our channeled podcast portion, where, as y'all know, on this podcast, I ask Spirit, my spiritual team, my chi, what message should I share today for the collective? And I channel that message. So the topic of today that just came through is this idea of love, self-love. What does it really mean to love yourself in a world that says that who you are needs to be constantly fixed and changed, amended and added to? What does that look like? When we think of self-love, it's not just looking in the mirror and saying, I love you. It's this deep sense of care and compassion and kindness and acceptance that we give ourselves each and every moment, knowing that we are human, and in our humanity we are bound to make mistakes. When I used to think of this idea of self-love, I was honestly confused. I was like, what does that mean? And what does that look like? And it took me a while to get into some exercises and really feel in my body what it meant to love myself. So I made it a mission to fall deeply and madly in love with myself, because I realized that I was allowing behaviors and people and situations into my sacred space, into my sacred life, that were causing me so much pain and anguish, that were causing me anxiety and depression, in which I began to question my self-worth, my sanity, in fact. Dealing with people, narcissistic people, toxic people, ignorant people who only wanted to take from me. So I had some growing and maturing to do in that area. And this self-love journey is a journey of a lifetime. You know, I realized that in loving myself and attempting to fall in love with myself, that these are actions that I need to continue to repeat for a lifetime. So what are these actions? Well, I realize I don't take care of myself. That's one. How many of you take care of yourself? And I'm not mean like, okay, I feed myself. I mean, truly treat your human system, and I say system as in your mind, your body, your spirit, your emotions, all of which consists of who you are. How many of you treat your human system with the kindness and respect it deserves, as a sacred temple? For me, that meant watching what I ate. It meant acknowledging, like, okay, this type of food doesn't feel good in my body. Cough, cough, cheese. And even though I love it, I love the taste of it, I have to let it go, because my body is saying no. Saying no, it's not for us. And so that's a bust. And that's just one example. Cheese really impacts my menstrual cycle. It impacts my acne, hormonal acne. It impacts my gut, which is a huge, and your gut health impacts your mental health. That's one thing. Like, I had to accept what my body was telling me. I had to accept my emotions for what they truly were. I had to accept my looks, accept the body that I was in. Sonia Renee Taylor, in her book, My Body Is Not Apology, talks about how radical acceptance is what we should be striving for. That when we radically accept all in who we are, that we give ourselves a freedom to be, a freedom to take up space, and that too is a part of self-love. I had to accept my limitations, that I have multiple chronic illnesses that mean that I have to engage in radical self-care. And I'm not talking about the self-care where, I'm going out and taking a bath, and that too is beneficial. I am talking about me acknowledging, like, okay, I am a hypersensitive person, and that means that my nervous system is very sensitive and can get overwhelmed easily. So that means that I need to engage in behaviors and activities every single day to take care of my nervous system. I have to meditate. And when I say meditate, there's different forms of that, but meditation is a must. So I ask you, what are the things about yourself? What are your perceived limitations, and how can you, with actions, with thoughts, begin to accept and implement different things into your life that lead to acknowledging that thing? This idea of falling deeply and madly in love with oneself can seem a bit egotistical or narcissistic. But if we don't love ourselves deeply, and by loving ourselves deeply, I'm talking about being able to accept the dark within, the shadows that we hold, the parts of ourselves that we are shamed about, the parts of ourselves that we feel guilt about, the parts of ourselves that we are told are not good enough. Well, I'm here to tell you that they are. When we begin to radically accept all of those parts, we can begin to ask those parts, what do you need? What do you need to feel safe and secure in this world? What can I do for you so that you can show up in all of your glory and beauty? The thing about radical acceptance is that it comes with grief. It comes with loss. It comes with knowing that who you thought you were is just a limited idea of who you really are. You are expansive, limitless. I've talked about before this idea, this concept of the chi. My indigenous Igbo ancestors knew that this spirit, this soul that we have in this world is connected not only to the universe, source, God, whatever you want to call the creator of all that there is, but is aligned with the part of ourselves that's called the chi, our higher selves. And so falling deeply and madly in love with myself has meant connecting back to that part to my chi and honoring what my soul came here to express and the authenticity of it. It meant me paying attention to the thoughts and the dreams that my mind pulled me to the daydreams and the places that I create in my imagination to escape. It meant honoring that and saying, why not move towards that? Why not move towards those dreams and heart's desires? Or is it because we were told that it is impossible to live our passions out? That's something I grew up with. I don't know about y'all. I grew up with hearing that it was extremely foolish to follow your passions, that passions don't pay the bills, that your passions are something you should put to the side. Your heart's desires are something you should put to the side so that you can be a member of society and contribute. And that idea of contribution, of course, in a capitalistic society is one in which we base our worth off of our productivity, off of what we can produce, as if we are work mules, as if we are robots that our only function is to output, and to continue to output, when in fact our purpose is to be. To be. What does it mean to be? Authentically you. That is the question and path of self-love. To be authentically you. I look into the natural world and sometimes I just look at animals, and I love nature. Like, nature touches a part of me that I know makes me feel connected to the expansiveness of the universe, of this world. And in nature, when I look at the animals, I just look at how they just be. They search for food when they need it. They rest when they need it. They engage in their communities and relations, if they're so called to, without judgment, without critique. And then I look back at this society that we live in, where just being is considered lazy. If I decided to do nothing, and I enjoy doing nothing, I honestly do enjoy just relaxing, I'm considered lazy. Be productive. I remember growing up, wanting to sleep in on the weekends and being woken up with a scream, a yell, woken up with a diatribe about how I shouldn't be sleeping in. I'm a child, one, who needs sleep, a lot of sleep. I shouldn't be sleeping in, and that, my parents would go on and on about how when it was their age, back in the day, they had to wake up at 6 o'clock a.m. and make food for the entire family. As if it is normal for a child to have to feed their family in that way. That's the responsibility of the parents. As if it is okay that they suffered in that way. And I had to realize now as a child, there's that child still within me. But as an adult now, that a lot of that stuff I was carrying with me. Those expectations and ideas and beliefs of self, I was carrying with me. Putting them in my back pocket, constantly whipping them out in my mind. Whenever a situation came up, no, I can't do that. Oh, no, that would be insert critical word here. that too, and understanding that is a part of self-love. I plan to be at peace. I want to be in peace with myself. And saying that, I feel so much emotion. Tears. Because how many of us are really at peace with ourselves? You know, like, oh gosh, how many of us feel whole inside? I look around and I'm constantly seeing advertisements, TV shows, people who tell me I need to change, that who I am is not enough. I'm here to tell you that, one, you are enough. Two, I am enough. We are enough. We are. And there's a reason that you have these desires. There's a reason you have these dreams in your soul. There is a reason. It's not just for play. I was just watching this YouTube video where the video was about the long game and how so many different artists from the past, they were talking about the Renaissance period and Italy, and just a lot of people who've accomplished amazing, beautiful things. It took a while. It took past the 30s. It took years upon years upon years of perfecting and engaging with that talent or skill for them to finally make it. Years. Between, I think it was like 5 to 10 years of working on something day in and day out to start to see a semblance of movement and success in their career or personal life. They talked about child prodigies, and how even child prodigies, it takes years to perfect. They just start younger. And I know I say this, some of y'all out there are thinking about the things that you've pushed aside or said, I can't. And I'm here to tell you that you can. And not only are you enough, if you put your mind and consistency and effort to it, you will. Not many people are able to, though. Let's keep it real. How many people can commit and be consistent for years on a talent or skill that isn't really going anywhere, that they're not seeing much traction with? But that's the long game. When you are playing the long game, you realize that it's going to take time. It will take time. We think about this idea of loving ourselves, of falling in love with ourselves. That takes time. It's not something you can wake up with and being like, oh my God, I love myself now. Yes, you can, but that's very shallow. Like, it's not going to be, it's a superficial kind of love. We're talking about that deep love. That love where someone can look at you and be like, damn, they really love themselves. They really take care of themselves as best as they can with what they have. Now, all of us aren't given the same, or not, let's say given, true, given, born into the same resources have these same resources, and resources is not just money. Resources are time. Resources are community. Resources are space. There's so many types of resources. Not all of us have the same level of resources. I get it. But are you doing the best that you can to take care of yourself, to accept yourself with what you have? Can you look at yourself in the mirror, in the eye, and tell yourself what you love about yourself without looking away, without feeling queasy, without, and I say without, but it's in spite of that. Being able to push past the uncomfortability of showering yourself with love that you might look to other people for that same love. Can you do that? I know I didn't in the beginning. I was looking for love all around me when I figured out it was inside me. That the love I sought was a love that ran deep in me, that I had to uncover. I had to uncover and peel back the layers of these ideas of you're not enough. You are unlovable. You don't deserve insert here. It is not possible for you to. Says who? We live in a world of energy, of manifesting our desires, of co-creating with this world. And yes, there is oppression and injustice that can rub up against the things that we truly desire. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about community, belonging, acceptance, but all of that starts with us. It starts with us giving ourselves that which we seek so that we can be that in the world and attract more of that. Because I best believe that the moment you start saying, I'm gonna elevate myself and see myself as worthy and deserving and capable of being loved, of obtaining my life's dreams, of having my heart's desires and meeting that, even if it takes time, your perspective will shift. Things that you put up with will seem absurd and crazy. You'll be like, it's a nah for me. That's my favorite phrase. It's a nah for me. I have a hard time saying no, so now it's a nah for me. People laugh, but it's still a no. You will realize all the things that you let slide because of false lies. You will realize the beauty of your soul goes beyond your skin, your hair, or even colored eyes. You will realize who you truly are inside. And that we are all humans with both dark and light. You will realize you. And that realization then comes the steps towards acceptance. And acceptance creates belonging, because when we belong to ourselves, when we can accept ourselves, that then is the falling in love. We push so many parts of ourselves away. We cannot fall in love with all of who we are if we're constantly pushing parts of ourselves away, constantly judging and critiquing parts of ourselves. That is literally the opposite of being and feeling whole. So, and we deserve to feel whole. That is a birthright. It is a divine right. Wholeness, dignity, love, belonging, acceptance. All of it. All of it. Shed a few good tears. I don't know about you, but I hope this really resonated and has began to really open your eyes, open your mind about the parts of yourself you push away or that you refuse to accept. And I ask you to think about those parts and ask them, how can I hold you? How can I take better care of you? And by you, it's me. How can I take better care of me? For myself, it's realizing that I don't want to do this 40-hour-a-week bullshit. Working underneath someone for 40 years. 40 years. And then I retire. Well, you say 40 years. Let's say you work from 18. Shit, 50 years. And then I retire and only get like 10, 15 potentially. When we don't even know how much time we have on this earth. It's a nah for me. It's a no. It's not. So what are the parts of yourself you push away? What are the parts of yourself that you have yet to accept? And I leave you with this particular exercise because I mentioned it earlier. Looking at yourself in the eye in the mirror. This is mirror work. It's called mirror work. And looking at yourself and telling yourself, what do you love about yourself? Now, if you're like me, that shit is hard. Because my whole life I was thinking about what I didn't like about myself. And if that's difficult, just look in your eyes. Stare into your eyes, the window of the soul. That's what the eyes are called. And see what comes up. Allowing whatever it is to come up to arise. Without judgment, without critique. Without running away. And say, I am here. I'm here for me. And I'm going to make this space, even if it's a minute, if it's 5 minutes, for myself to hold me, to accept me, to belong to me. And if you can, radiate that love to you. If you're having trouble accessing it, think of someone you may love or a thing you may love and hold that feeling and then pour it into you. Shine it to your direction. Knowing that you are enough and you are beautiful, magnificent. Because there is no one in this world who's lived the life that you've lived, who has the combination of personality, experiences, talents, and skills that you have. There is no carbon copy. You are the original. And it's time that original is loved.
That's the message I have for y'all today. Remember to subscribe to my channel, like this week's episode, and to share to someone who you think this might resonate with or be helpful for. Remember, we are here to cultivate an open, honest, transparent space full of radical vulnerability, non-judgment, and unconditional love for ourselves and others. And as always, I am so grateful for your presence and taking the time and the space actually to listen wherever you are in the world. I don't take it for granted, and it really means a lot to me. So I'll catch y'all next week, and until then, peace and love.